That was about food. There was nothing more than food. And what it meant was that Yosef would be the breadwinner, and he would be the one to feed the family. That was okay. Yisachar, Zvulun were the learners, Levi wanted to be in the yeshiva, Yehuda would start the yeshiva in Goshen, and Yosef was the sugar daddy that
took care of everybody.
And eventually he was. Yosef's claim to fame was he ran the Egyptian breadbasket. He supplied the world with food. And that's what made him a tzaddik. The father was okay with that. Also, in the first dream, there was no mention of the father or mother bowing to him. There was only 11 children and to Yosef, which is what happened. When they came down to Egypt the first time, they all bowed to him because he was the king.
Yeah.
It wasn't a dream yet, because there was 11, there was only 10 of them. Who was missing? Binyamin. So he says, I want you to bring Binyamin. So when they brought Binyamin, that dream was over. The second dream was a totally different dream. The second dream had nothing to do with food. It was the 11 stars and the sun and the moon. Who was the sun? Yaakov. Who was the moon? Bilhah, because Bilhah raised him. Rachel was dead. Now, this was a different dream. This was not about food. This was not about family support. This was about who's going to be in charge, which meant that Yosef believed that he would be greater than his father. That's what Yaakov got angry about. Now, it's interesting that if you think about it, there were 4 Avos: Avraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov, Yosef. Yosef was considered one of the Avos because his children were Shvatim. So he was considered an Av. And did Yaakov ever bow to Yosef? Yes. In the end, when he came, right, Yaakov also bowed to Yosef. Why? Yosef was a melech. He didn't bow to him for superiority, spiritual superiority. So the dream was true. That's why it says, V'Yaakov v'Aviv Shomar es Hadovar. He said, I'm going to keep this in memory. I'm going to remember it.
Yaakov said.
Yeah, Yaakov said, I'm going to keep this I'm going to file this away, because he knew that the dream was real. It wasn't just that my son was having images of grandiose thing. He knew it was real. But
And his stepmother also then?
yeah, Bilhah was close to the children, but remember Yosef grew up without that. For the first 17 years, he had a father and a mother. But after that, he didn't have a father and a mother. For the next 22 years, he was on his own. Okay, and then even when his father came, he was only for 17 more years his father came. He didn't stay close to his father because he was afraid his father would ask him, what happened? What happened to your coat, the katonas pasim? What happened? And Yosef just he wasn't alone with his father. So, and we never find anything more about the mothers, him having any relationship with the mother. And, children need a father and a mother. Yes. And when you grow up without a father and a mother, it affects you.
Yeah, it's damaging so much.
It's hard. Eventually you have to become, when my parents passed away, I realized that I'm going to be the grandfather to my grandchildren. Now I have to step up. That was a wonderful opportunity, but it was also a painful opportunity. It meant that there was a change of the guard, so-called. Okay, one of the mitzvahs on Purim is to have a su'udah, a party. Yeah. And we do. One of the mitzvahs is on the Purim day, we have a su'udat Purim. On Hanukkah, we don't have a su'udah. Some people have Hanukkah parties, but there's no mitzvah. We don't have every day a Hanukkah su'udah, a meal. So the question is why? So the Mishnah Berurah asked it, and he brings out an answer from the Levush. Interesting answer. He says, on Purim, Haman wanted to kill us physically. On Hanukkah, Antiochus would have let us live. He didn't care about our bodies. He just didn't want us to have religion. He was cared about our neshama. We could have lived, and many people lived very comfortably under Antiochus as long as you didn't worship God. So when a person wants to kill you and you're saved, you make a party. But there was no fear of death in the hands of Antiochus. That's what the Mishnah Berurah says. There's another sefer, Yosef Leket. He he has a very unusual answer, very, very interesting answer. He says, in the Purim story, how many Jews died? In the Purim story, Achashverosh, Haman, Mordechai, Esther, none. Nobody died. Some people say Daniel died, but nobody died. They had a war, they defended themselves, nobody died. He says, when you have a war and no Jew dies, you can make a party.
Yeah.
In the Hanukkah story, when they stood up against Antiochus and they said, no, drew a line in the sand, Mila Hashem Eloi, they defended the right to free the Beit HaMikdash. How many Jews died? Thousands. Not only did thousands die, but even the Hashmonaim, and Matisyo and his family, Yehuda died. Eliezer was the guy with the elephant, Even Matisyo's own children died. Okay? Well, there were 6 or 8, or I don't know how many there were. Chana and her 7 sons. The famous story with the ring and Chana and her 7 sons. So in the Hanukkah story, Jews died. A lot of Jews, men, women, children died. Okay? So when Jews die, you don't make a party. You can light the menorah, you can play dreidel, you can give a Hanukkah gelt, you can do a lot of nice things. You can give gifts, which is a modern day thing, but you don't make a party, you don't sit around the table, you don't sing Zmirot and have a su'uda. People died. It was a different. That's what the Yosef Leket says. It's a very interesting answer. It's a very interesting answer how Hanukkah differs very much than Purim. Again, Hanukkah's 8 days, Purim is 1 day, but it still was a very different, both midrabanan, but very, very different than what it was. Okay, have a good night. When is Hanukkah? Tuesday night, tomorrow night.
Tomorrow night.
All right.
Hanukkah, Rabbi.
Okay, happy Hanukkah. Where do you light your menorah? Do you light by the window? There's a question if you're too high up, if you're more than 20 amos. Some people, even today, they light by the doorway. They have the mezuzah on one side and the menorah on the other side. That's brought down. A lot of people do that.
Thank you.
Is that what she said?
No, he said that.
She said, why every year we used to do by the window? I said, because our window doesn't go to the people,
Right.
And especially not a lot of Jewish people over
But
there.
even
We have a balcony over there, so it's like a little,
Right.
not nice, not good to see.
not good for
So I said,
sight.
better do it in the table next to the door, by the
For
door.
many, many years, for hundreds of years, if not longer, people did that even if they had windows and outside. Maybe they were afraid of the outside community. They didn't want to show everybody that this is a Jewish home. But from a
Recording is okay?
Okay, from a halacha point of view, even today, there are many people who have the custom to light inside the house, right by the doorway, with the mezuzah on one side and the menorah on the other.
And we went to the bingo and bought the case, the
Right.
box.
Of
Nice,
the,
fancy, so we can
Every
switch
night.
the holes with the
the menorah with the
Cups.
cups. Good,
yeah. So it's in case of the showers, you open the door and close, so it doesn't
correct.
blow away.
Do you light your own menorah? Right, because Bukharians have the minhag that only one person in the family lights,
Allah bayit.
the Baal HaBayit. And that's the same with candle lighting, that's the same with the menorah, that's the same. We don't. Our minhag is everybody lights.
Yeah.
My wife does not light. My wife is Yotze with me. But my sons lit, and in some families even the girls light. The single girls.
You
Yeah,
first,
so-
you first lighting after
Вот
bracha.
укатить
Right.
нужно зажигать.
We say first bracha after
Килайт,
bracha.
Correct.
килайт.
No, but we make the bracha first, over La Siyosa. We make the bracha first and then we light.
Oh.
Right. What you do on Shabbos is you light and then you make the bracha.
No, we say make a blow. First bracha after light.
Where, on Shabbos?
Yes.
That's right. And we do the opposite. We light first and then we make the bracha.
Yeah.
But on Hanukkah is not Shabbos, so we do it that way. But we'll have, for example, by me, let's say this on this Shabbos, so my son-in-law will be there and my grandchildren. I have 3 or 4 grandchildren, so it'll be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 menorahs. I'll have a 6th menorah.
Wow.
We have a whole table set up. There'll be like 8 or 12 menorahs.
It's not dangerous. It's light.
Rab Daniel
Have to light first and after
Hashem
bracha?
Rab
protects.
Daniel told us.
Hashem
Only
protects.
oil, not candle.
What?
So first you have
We
to.
use oil. The younger children use candles. It doesn't really work for Friday night because the candle's only meant for half an hour.
She has a question.
What do you have to do first? You have to say the bracha, or after that light the candles,
Right,
yeah?
what we do is we make the bracha first, then we light the candles.
For
On
menorah.
Shabbos. On
On
regular
the
Shabbos.
menorah.
What about for Shabbos?
For Shabbos, we light the candles first, and then we make the bracha. But that's not what Rabbi Vayeshev Yosef said.
Fardim
Rabbi
is
Vayeshev
first.
Yosef, right, Rabbi Vayeshev Yosef felt that Sfardim should light first and then make the bracha.
Yeah, I do.
No, first
No,
baracha.
first make the bracha, then light.
No.
Да.
No,
Вы
that's
неправильно делаете.
what,
Браха
that's what
вот она.
Rabbi Vayeshev Yosef
You
felt.
have the
Ben Ish
baracha,
Chai
you say the baracha, how are you gonna light the candles? You accept the Shabbos.
And Rabbi Vayeshev Yosef is of the
What I'm not
opinion.
doing right, you said?
Да.
No, I'm just telling you what Rabbi Vayeshev Yosef felt that
What I
Sfardim,
have to follow?
you're gonna follow what your husband advises you.
No, because my son, he taught me.
And what did your son teach you?
Said, Mommy, you have to first, you have to light, and after you have to say the bracha, because you already
Right,
Right,
accept
but
the
that's because
Shabbos.
your son hung around an
Baracha,
Ashkenazi rabbi for too many years.
What?
That's because your son hangs around an Ashkenazi rabbi for too many years.
בראכה לבטלה.
No,
I take-
even it was before
Lena,
too.
ты путаешь.
But that's, Rabbi tried to reverse it. But so for
Even
Sfardim.
the
About-
even
Now I
the
have to,
even
now I
the
have
Shulchan
to
Aruch
change
say
to say
that.
the bracha.
No,
Baracha.
you'll do what your son and your husband suggest you do.
Okay, what you suggest, husband?
Not on the video.
Not on the
Потом
video.
I said,
Oh my
we
God.
want to question.